Hi, I'm Brian Demchak. I'm 41 years old, and I've lost 140 pounds in a year. And unfortunately, with that came a lot of loose skin. So I made the decision to have my extra skin removed in the near future. Actually, in 3 days, I'm going to have it done. I have notes because I haven't really done this before, but you would think that after losing all this weight, you'd be super comfortable with yourself and be like, great, I look fantastic. Unfortunately, when I see myself, I still see a big guy. I see this extra skin and I'm like, what am I doing with this? How do I lose this weight? It's not weight that I can lose. I weigh 181 pounds. According to my scale, I'm at 11.7% body fat. There's not really much else I can do. I work out 4 or 5 days a week. I walk 10,000 steps a day. I eat right. I track all my calories. Just not comfortable with it. So, I worked 2 jobs to have the surgery done, and I'm going to get it done. Before I decided to have the surgery done, I looked at the surgeon's requirements.
Explain the surgeon's requirement to be a stable goal weight for a specific period before surgery and why.
Yeah, so my research on this surgery said that it was advised to be under a BMI of 30, which according to the BMI chart, I'm at about a 27 right now. And they wanted you to be at whatever you thought was a weight that you'd want to maintain for a while. I don't plan to lose any more weight, but I'd like to put on more muscle. So that's kind of my goal there. Yeah.
And then briefly touch on the financial aspect. Did insurance cover any of it, or how did you save for it?
Insurance, when we're talking about money-wise, insurance doesn't cover anything with it, unfortunately, because it's completely cosmetic. I've heard there's ways to get it covered if you have rashes or anything like that, but unfortunately, I don't have any of those issues. Financially, the surgery is very expensive. Unfortunately, insurance doesn't cover any of it unless you have rashes or things like that, and they only cover the front, or the apron, as some people might call it. The total cost is $19,700, which I work 2 jobs to be able to pay for. So I take that financial responsibility on myself, and I'm going to make sure it gets done. I financed it through an American Express loan of all places, but they offered a fantastic interest rate. So, I'm going to go that route.
And looking for the surgeon for qualifications, what did you look for?
Yeah, so I actually borrowed this checklist from Simon Goliath. I think his name is LaFontaine, off of YouTube. He went through a similar journey to me, lost 158 pounds or something like that in a year. But he had the exact same surgeries I'm planning to have, but he's doing it in 3 separate surgeries. But he had this really cool question sheet. So he asked questions like, what will my scar look like and where will it be placed? What results are realistic for me? Some questions about, is the doctor board certified? How many times has he done the surgery? Where will the surgery take place? Things like that. I researched the doctor I talked to online pretty thoroughly before I even went in, so I knew he was board certified. I knew he'd done these surgeries before. I found before and after pictures online of similar surgeries. And then I also knew that that particular practice was connected to their own surgical suite, so I don't have to worry about traveling anywhere, going to a hospital, paying those fees. It's all included in the total cost. The surgeon I picked is the Bankston Center for Aesthetics and Cosmetic Surgery, Dr. Alfonso specifically. He's a great guy. I sat down and met him. Really cool dude. And he said I've done an amazing job with my transformation and I'm a perfect candidate for what they're looking for. There's other questions too, long-term considerations, cost, things like that. If I need a revision surgery, who covers it? And unfortunately, they actually cover revisions unless it's, something extreme that I want done that's completely separate from the original surgery, then obviously that would be up to me to pay for. They did say that if I did need a revision, I'd have to pay a fee of like $400 or $500. It's just an office fee, so it wasn't too bad. Yeah, but I met with them, had an hour-and-a-half consultation. They took pictures, looked me over, and I felt really comfortable with them, so I decided to move forward with that office.
how important is it to feel comfortable and trusted with your surgeon and the medical staff?
I think it's incredibly important that you feel comfortable with the surgeon that you choose and the staff, because you're going to be put under, for me, it's 4.5 to 5 hours, and they're going to be doing some pretty big incisions across my body to remove the excess tissue and skin. So the nurses, I was really comfortable with them. In fact, when I talked to the nurse on my pre-op call, I kind of made a joke, and she asked if I ever had any swelling in my legs, and I said no. I was like, well, you're completely swollen with muscle, and she thought that was hilarious, but dad jokes, right?
Clearly explain what procedures you are having.
So the procedure I'm having, if I can say this right, is an abdominal circumferential abdominal plasty, which is basically a full body tummy tuck. They're going to make an incision completely around my waist, under the waistline. So if I'm wearing a swimsuit or don't have a shirt on, the scar should be under my waistline. And I'm also going to have an incision across the chest to remove the excess skin and bring that up towards my muscle line. Yeah.
Is your chest the incision going all the way, or is it two separate ones?
The chest incision should be two separate incisions across the middle.
What's the importance of discussing surgical risks and recovery timelines?
Yeah, because I work 2 jobs, it was incredibly important to discuss that, because I need to know how long I'm going to be off. One of my jobs is an office job, but the other one I'm on my feet for the part-time job. I'm on my feet for 6 to 8 hours a day, and I have to lift pretty heavy things. So recovery-wise, it's 6 weeks without doing any weightlifting, 3 weeks before I can do any cardio. So I was planning on taking 3 weeks off from my part-time job, and I'm only going to take hopefully 3 or 4 days off from my primary office job, because I can work from home. My employer is nice enough to let me work from home while I recover, but I do plan to go back within 1 to 2 weeks to the office, as long as everything goes smoothly. I really can't say until I'm going through the recovery.
What are, as far as pre-op, what are some medications and supplements that you have to stop taking, and why?
Yeah, I have actually video of my pre-nurse call I took to talk about the supplements and things like that I can go through. But I take magnesium glycinate, turmeric, pre-workout. I do collagen peptides. I take a men's multivitamin every day, and and creatine. I take creatine every day, and I had to stop taking the creatine and turmeric 2 weeks prior to surgery, and then everything else was a week prior to surgery. I can't take any ibuprofen or blood thinners, anything like that. I had to stop taking some other medications as well. I'm on Manjaro. That's what helped me lose all the weight. I had to stop doing that 2 weeks before because it slows your digestion. And that's the only medicine I had to stop taking. But I'll share the video of my pre-op call so you can see all the questions that we went over.
What are some lifestyle changes that have to be made prior to the surgery?
I had to stop working out for 6 weeks, which is unfortunate because I've built that habit over the last year, but I had planned to get right back into it as soon as I'm done. In fact, I already built a recovery workout plan for that first week to make sure I can jump back into it. I don't really think there's much else that's going to change.
What are some of the required labs for medical clearance from your primary care, or is there any other type of clearance from a medical perspective?
Yeah, so I did have to go to a pre-op appointment with my primary care physician, and they did an EKG, which I already had one from earlier this year, so I didn't have to do a new one. Then I had to do a complete blood count and then a metabolic panel and make sure all my levels were okay, and everything turned out fine. So I was a perfect candidate for surgery. So everything was good there. Some people might ask why I'm having the surgery, and I'll be happy to show you. Let's take a look. So after losing all the weight, I have this glorious extra tissue in the front of my stomach that just kind of hangs there. There's not really any fat left in it. If we look around the side, you can see more tissue just kind of hanging there. My goal is to have all of this removed, and then of course my chest. I'm going to have all of that taken off as well. So that's why I want to get it done. From a recovery perspective, we have this really convenient bed that'll allow me to put the bed into what's called a 0G mode, which will allow the head and foot to be up so I won't roll over to my side. Because I'm going to have the incision all the way around, it's going to be challenging to sleep because I usually sleep on my back or my side. Now, clothing wise, because I'm having such a big incision across my middle and my chest, they said it's going to be challenging to raise my arms over my head to begin with. So I got these couple of these hoodies that zip up, so I'll be able to put those on easier. And then I'll be wearing sweatpants, lots of sweatpants. Let's talk about food prep. I've got ground beef, got individually marinated chicken breasts, and I've got lots of meal prep down here, if you can see it. We got Chinese food, we got jambalaya, fajita bowls, and we got some good stuff from Trader Joe's. I'm gonna tell you, this stuff here, this Kung Pao chicken is amazing. 24 grams of protein, 240 calories per serving. I get 2 servings with a half a cup of rice. It's delicious. Got beef tenderloin steaks. All of it's individually wrapped so I can just pull it out and thaw it whenever I need to eat. So it's really quick and easy. I hope you enjoyed the video. For anyone that's curious, I plan to record as much of the actual pre and post surgery as I can, as well as my reaction to seeing myself for the first time, and then how recovery goes as I'm able to do more things. Anything anyone's curious about, feel free to leave comments and ask, and I'll be happy to explain. If you want to know what I did to lose weight, what I ate, things like that, I'm also happy to create any content that anyone's curious about. But if you want to follow along on my journey, just like and subscribe, and hopefully we'll keep posting content over the next few weeks to months.